I'm not Clark's enemy.
Apologize. Still fighting a girl, hero?
You're no ordinary girl.
Supergirl wins.
What purpose will this serve?
It will clear the air.
Or bloody the water?
Conspire against you. Superman. At least I'm half human.
You say that like it's a good thing.
It's taught me compassion. I grow tired of you.
Hard to tell, but you look grumpy.
Kryptonians give me headaches.
You're in for a doozy.
Atlantis.
You gonna spit up on me, Atrocitus?
Irritating female.
You know who else does that? Babies.
Supergirl wins.
You could wear a red ring.
Red jewelry's kind of for old ladies.
Look me at your peril.
Now don't you feel silly?
Gorilla Grodd. Superman. Atlantis.
You won't rule Earth, Grodd.
Nor will you, Superman.
I have and will again. Ready to quit yet?
Aquaman. Batman. Metropolis.
Atlantis can't be my enemy.
Next time, try diplomacy.
I did, that's why we're here.
I will not be your ally.
Not the smartest choice.
Batman wins. Supergirl. Batman. Gotham City.
not Clark's enemy.
This sure is a funny way to show it.
You haven't heard the whole story.
Which part of you hurts the worst?
Supergirl wins.
What's exciting about this is we're coming back here with 3 returning characters, 3 brand new characters. You know, Aquaman, Superman, Batman, everybody is aware of. But, you know, the introduction of Supergirl, which is really exciting. The Flash's villain, Gorilla Grodd.
Oh, wow.
Is also a lot of fun. He plays, you know, different than you'd expect. And Atrocitus, who is kind of like, you know, a big, red, angry version of Green Lantern.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, you can think of him as that way. Red Lantern. He's the opposite of Green Lantern in almost every way. But you know, I guess we can go ahead and start the gameplay with them and give you an idea of this new system that we're introducing in Injustice 2. You know, with Injustice, you know, we always say, oh, you know, it's big battle of the gods, huge destruction, transitions, multiple arenas. It's awesome. And with the sequel, of course, we're going to add new characters, you know, and expand on that whole thing. But the gear system, what we're calling the gear system, is really like the foundation of what is brand new, what we're bringing to the table, differentiated from Injustice, as well as differentiating it from other fighting games.
Wow, very cool. So, like, with each match that you fight, you'll be grabbing gear, or how does that work?
Yeah, so like after a fight is done, you're going to acquire some gear, and the gear actually powers up your character. So every character in the game has thousands and thousands of, you know, boots, utility belts, cowls, capes, insignias, and when you finish playing the game, it's kind of like XP. You know, you're getting a drops of gear. Sure. And you get to actually apply them to your character, and they power your character up in different ways. You know, defense. You know, your strength, your abilities that you use in the you know, with your special moves and your health meter, and you are in a constant process of leveling up.
So
yeah.
Now, does this carry on to like online also? Like, will I be able to face like, you know, Superman versus my Superman, where it's decked out differently?
Yeah, and you know what you said is really key. It's like your Superman,
right,
your Batman, your Aquaman against somebody else's, and it's all personalized, and it is you literally customizing, molding your version of these characters that go up against somebody else's.
I love that idea because you see so often, there's certain characters who will be more popular than others, and you see a lot of mirror matches. But now, like you said, like you can have your, maybe I'll focus on like more offense type gear, versus maybe Swifter's defense type, gear.
Exactly.
Sounds very
You
cool.
notice here this big transition. You can throw your opponent into a new arena where there's a whole new palette of objects that you can actually use in the fight. That was something that really resonated with the last Injustice, and we really wanted to bring it over. And you look at these characters again, with Atrocitus. He's all about anger and hate and blood. So he has all these kind of blood moves. He can bring out the
and flying cats.
Yeah. His name is Dexstar, and he's actually also a Red Lantern in the DC lore.
Wow.
And so Atrocitus can bring him out, use him, and he actually aids in the battle of the fight. Yeah, it's exciting. And Gorilla Grodd is all about big kind of primal moves mixed in with telekinetic moves. He's blasting them down back into the street arena where.
I was just going to say, and here we see the environmental interaction again.
Yeah, going busting through walls, bouncing off. You
Exactly.
feel the power of like these attacks.
Oh yeah, and we always describe it as like the battle of the gods, And so Grodd here is his.
Oh.
That's what I love seeing too. Just like these two brawlers beat the crap out of each other.
The variety of characters in this game is actually going to be even wider than the last one. So here is what we were talking about in terms of the gear. Like when you finish a round, your characters are leveling up. You see the stats of their strength and all that. But then this gear that you're rewarded with, the Curse of Rage, his new arms for Atrocitus, and Grodd has these. You can also be awarded gear for other characters.
Yeah, I just noticed.
You want to level up your other characters. It kind of gives you an incentive to really build up the entire cast.
That is very cool.
That is all. I'm actually really, really excited about like the loot drop system and like looking at like, if I face off against a man, he's got like, that awesome gauntlet. Like, what am I going to do? Like, counter that or whatever.
Exactly. Or when you go online and you see somebody wearing some crazy crown, you're like, where did you get that?
Exactly.
And so there's a lot of kind of like this big collection mechanic going on.
Oh man, when is this coming out? I'm sorry, I'm like jumping to that, but I just want to play.
No, of course.
Unfortunately, we got to wait until 2017.
Oh,
for
bad boy!
Oh. Yeah, but it's going to be worth the wait. Like we were saying, there's bigger roster of characters. This whole gear stuff is going to be so exciting, and just the another great opportunity is with the first Injustice. There's always characters who didn't get in the roster.
Of course.
And a bunch of angry people that characters didn't get into the game. So a lot of it is satisfying those people, wanted to see Atrocitus, wanted to see Superman.
Yeah, comic book fans in particular can be pretty vocal when they are not listening to.
And it's a great thing. I'd rather have people passionate about it, even if passion.
That's a nice, polite way to put it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. People care, and these games, of course, they're fans of just Injustice itself. Like we were talking about earlier, the comic book Injustice has really taken off, and fans just love the setting, like the story that the first game brought.
Oh, it was fantastic. It was such a great kind of summary of the events leading up to the first game. That's what was so cool about it. And yeah, he's really has anger issues.
Like you said, I love that idea that you guys come from the perspective that it's like the gods, like just these beings with like ultimate powers, just throwing down.
Exactly. It's kind of like thinking of you have these super powered beings all kind of assembled, and a story that kind of gives them a reason to want to beat the crap out of each other.
Yeah. So, are there any changes to like the combo system or like the mechanics? I'm sure you guys are still kind of tweaking that, of course.
Yeah, we're always refining it. We every game we really want to add nuances that not only can be appreciated by kind of casual guys, but the hardcore fighting game guys. We really are big fans of esports and everything, and we really want to have this game be a big part of it with tournaments and all that stuff. So there's a lot of really deep layers that we've added to the game for those players.
love seeing the back and forth there, like even as you choose the characters.
Yeah,
It's
that's
lot
a big
banter
part.
back. Like in Mortal Kombat, you always had like these like awesome, very custom interactions between characters. And is that like
Exactly. We were so happy with how that turned out. And these characters, they have, a lot of them have relationships with each other, and they have stories famous stories. They make references to those stories. It's great. So you see a lot of nods to the, to some of the comics you might have read, or or something you might have seen in other media. And it's great how you see those relationships. So they talk to each other before a fight, and it really kind of, you'd be surprised how much it really adds a level of depth.
it really does?
Absolutely, keeping staying true to like the original kind of like source material that has come before. Because these characters, these are like the forefathers of the whole superhero comic scene, and very cool that you guys have taken that into account as well. Kept it in the game.
Yeah, we're and characters like the returning characters, Aquaman and Batman and Superman. What's cool is we've given them new moves and really kind of updated them. So like they're your favorite character. You love how they play. There's going to be some familiarity about it, but there's also other layers of stuff.
Yeah. Oh man.
Poor Aquaman.
She's not messing around. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a transition into a train. I don't know if you guys have seen it on the right side. That is really cool because it's got you can actually the guy is actually like kind of spinning through the train here.
Oh, are we about to see it? Yeah.
There we go.
Oh,
That's
Aquaman.
great.
I love how it's Aquaman too. He's just getting knocked around.
Poor Aquaman.
Yeah, he's got this awesome super move that's it's probably one of my favorite ones in the game right now. It's just kind of really it's just so ridiculously over the top. Considering his last one had this big shark. He really wanted to have something that kind of one up that whole thing.
Wow.
Is it, or
I think we're seeing it right now. Look at that. Oh, it's something like prehistoric.
it's not even over.
Wow.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. I just want to say, Supergirl, she actually deserved that. Like, she's been knocking him around a while. Yeah. Look at that.
Oh man, I'm probably most excited for the loot system though. That sounds like so like amazing. Just keep me coming back. Looking forward to the end of every match.
Exactly. Like fighting games are really all about traditionally have been about here's the character that we made. You learn it, you master it, you get it. Now we're all about kind of giving the player more personalization.
3 returning characters: Aquaman, Batman, and Superman. And 2 or 3 characters new to the Injustice universe: Atrocitus, who's like a Red Lantern, Gorilla Grodd, one of Flash's villains, and Supergirl, who is very much in the forefront of things lately.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, so we have that and three environments and a good demonstration of our gear system. So it's a lot of cool new stuff to show you.
Awesome, and I'm sure we'll be seeing this. Man, Atrocitus looks really cool. I'm sure we're going to be seeing this, but essentially, as I understand it, when you win a match, you essentially get like kind of a loot drop. Is that kind of how that works?
Yeah, exactly. No, so there are a number of ways. You're always going to be getting, like you said, like these drops of gear that will, a new cowl for Batman, new utility belt, new boots for Superman, and they come with it, power-ups for your characters, so you can do a little bit more damage on the environments, or your attack damage is a little bit more, or your defensive blocking damage is a little more, and tons of variables, and you're constantly getting them. You're constantly deciding which ones you want to use based on the kind of Batman that you want to craft. And so effectively it's like, you're making your Batman, I'm making my Batman. We might meet up online, and it's yours versus mine. That's awesome. And it's different. They look different too. So that's the customization and personalization is really what kind of sets this apart from certainly the last Injustice or any other fighting game.
Yeah, I've never heard of this before in a fighting game. It actually is one of those things where I never would have thought of it, but now that you mention it, it's like, yeah, I want that. I want that in my fighting game.
Yeah.
And I mean, Injustice, we're seeing some great footage here. This game's looking real sharp. NetherRealm, known for high production values in general, and we've seen that with Mortal Kombat X. Now we're seeing it with Injustice 2. So tell me a little bit about these 2 characters we're seeing here, and some of the pros and cons that they have.
Yeah, these are the two of the new characters that we've had here. Atrocitus is basically, if you think of Green Lantern, except for he's a big monster, has hate, and he has a lot of blood. He's kind of like anti-hero version of Green Lantern, but
Oh,
a lot
awesome.
meaner. Yeah.
Bam!
Yeah. And he's with Gorilla Grodd, who's one of Flash's villains. And Gorilla Grodd is kind of like, he's a gorilla, and he's had all these crazy like animal-like attacks, but he also has a high intellect. So he has telekinetic abilities. He can make you beat yourself up.
Oh,
he can
cool.
levitate in the air and stuff. And so it's a great. I think they're two great additions to our roster.
One of the things I love about what you guys did with Injustice 1, which was a huge hit with me and my friends, we love that game. It's got such a great sense of humor, but it's still I think we got, what are these called again? Ultimate?
The transitions, yeah.
Oh, the
like
transitions.
he's knocking him into another arena
Oh,
with a
yeah.
whole new kind of palette of
So good.
objects that you can use in the fight.
So good.
Yeah.
But one of the things I've always loved about Injustice is, it's not just Batman and Joker or whatever. It's you guys kind of get down in the weeds a little bit there on the
yeah.
DC IP, which I think is really smart. Aquaman in the original Injustice, the most badass Aquaman of all time.
Yeah.
Easily my favorite character in the game.
Yeah.
Because I'm a little bit cheap. I love his strikes where he can strike anywhere on the screen.
Yeah.
But and now we have Supergirl. So tell me a little bit about how Aquaman has kind of made the jump here to Injustice 2.
Yeah.
What we can expect out of Supergirl.
Yeah, one of our goals was we wanted to make the most badass Aquaman that's ever existed.
Yeah.
And his big super with the shark that comes
Oh,
out
it's
and
so
grabs
good.
the other guy.
So good.
And I think we actually topped it with this version of Aquaman. And Supergirl is actually we always want to have girl power in our games.
Of course.
And Supergirl with her TV show and everything like that. So we really wanted to kind of give her her due representation in the game. But Aquaman Super with this kind of prehistoric shark is even cooler than the last
Awesome.
one. So some people who've seen that footage.
Oh, so it's like a megalodon or something?
Oh, it's kind of like a part shark, part dinosaur.
Yeah, that's the best kind of shark. Anytime you have a shark that's part dinosaur, oh!
Yeah, that's the Trench Queen. It's all part of Aquaman's lore.
Oh, this is so cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, maybe we'll see the Aquaman super move.
I hope so.
Get him in here. That'd be
So it looks like we're fighting in Atlantis here?
Yes. Atlantis is one of the 3 arenas that we brought. Atlantis, Metropolis, and Gotham City are the 3 that we brought
Awesome.
here. Here's that.
Here we go.
move
Let's
here
see
with
it.
Aquaman.
Bam. Oh, now I see the dinosaur. That's crazy. So good, so good. So you guys, what are these moves called again? I forget. They're called.
The super moves are like the grand
moves.
over the top,
Yeah.
over the top moves. That's when you have your bar full.
Right. And you guys must have, when you were making Injustice 2, you must have thought about, hey, do we do a fatality type of system? And I think it's interesting that you kind of took this route instead, because they're a lot of fun to pull off.
We were kind of like, okay, of course we're going to bring back the favorite characters. Of course we're going to expand the roster, but we wanted to do something that was unexpected. That's kind of the whole gear system that comes into play.
Which
there.
is, I think is going to work out real nicely. It's a great way to keep people playing. And, I still love these little character selection, taunt, trading blows thing. That's great. And I've been a big fan of your games for a long time. I loved Mortal Kombat vs. DC. I loved Mortal Kombat, the reboot, maybe, and have just like a cool story that I could beat my way through.
Exactly. Any game with a roster of characters, Mortal Kombat, one of the things that's always stood out was it had a roster of characters and they had a relationship with each other, and there was a story. And so we started presenting it with the cinematic, method where the player participates in the fighting. And so when we did Injustice, again, it's a perfect marriage. You have Superman and Batman and Aquaman, and they're not talking to each other. They're not acknowledging each other.
Yeah.
That's a waste of such a great, opportunity with them. So, we did in Injustice and in Injustice 2, we're going to have a really deep cinematic story experience, like watching a movie.
Yeah.
And
or a really good TV show, maybe.
Exactly, and participating in the fights.
Which is so cool. I love the one in Mortal Kombat X. Mortal Kombat 9 or Mortal Kombat the reboot, that was a revelation.
Yeah.
And I went, oh God, I didn't know how bad I wanted this. And then in Mortal Kombat X, I felt like it was like almost like perfected. Like it was like the story was really tight. It was really interesting,
When we the last game, Batman put Superman in prison.
Yeah.
And we're going to continue that storyline and find out what happens after that. It's been fun to create all that stuff.
So where is Superman these days? What's he up to?
Well, when we last left him off, he was in prison, and as you might guess, since he's in the game, you know, he may get out. So
I wonder if he could get out of that prison.
Right,
you know,
in some capacity. But yeah, that's part of, I guess, what we're going to be revealing in the next few months is like the details of the story and how cool that's going to be mixed in.
That's awesome, and I'm kind of transfixed here watching Batman do his thing with Supergirl here. Now, Batman, obviously, you know, one of the most iconic of all superheroes, and one of my favorite characters, frankly, in the last game. Oh, I like the shadowing effect that's on the wall.
Yeah,
there. That's really cool.
Yeah, the lighting's really dramatic.
Yeah,
in this
yeah.
arena.
And I mean, that's one of the nice things here too. When you made Injustice, one of the best-looking games on last gen. Absolutely.
Characters that we released. Injustice had 6 DLC characters that reached out. Mortal Kombat X had 8 characters, so you can see where we're going as far as our, you know, we really want the games to be supported not only with DLC characters, but with, you know, in tournaments and prize pools and all that stuff like that. So that's been a great part of making it too.
Was the super moves that you have, and you teased some of them in the trailer with obviously you got Batman and Superman and going at each other. But tell us, you know, this game. Let's talk about sort of the customizations. One of the things we were in Chicago, you're talking a lot about, is how everyone's going to have a different Batman or a different Superman, right?
Yeah.
Tell us how that works.
Yeah, you know, fighting games are all about, you know, the character that you're playing. And for the most part, when people play the character, you know, it's the character that we made, and you basically learn it, you master it, you learn the nuances of it, but you don't really change what it does. And that's kind of what we're introducing with this game. We're really like saying, okay, here's a base version of Aquaman, here's a base version of Superman, Atrocitus, and that's your starting point. And then when you start acquiring gear, and that gear actually makes your character more powerful, and you're the one who chooses what it is that it's going to enhance as far as the part of the game. And you know, as we can see before, you know, our super moves were kind of like, we set such a high bar before, it's kind of like, so we're trying to really just supersede all of this one.
I love that that's all in engine, all this insanity.
Oh yeah.
Now I know at E3 here you're showing, I think it's what, you have 3 areas, 4 characters, or what can we expect?
We're going to see 6 characters.
6 characters.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, and 3 arenas. They're kind of like famous ones, you know, Metropolis, Gotham City, and Atlantis. You might notice as you're seeing the gameplay here is, you know, when you see Batman for the second time, he looks a little bit different. That's because that's a different Batman. When you see Grodd for the second time, it's a little bit different. Everybody's is going to look different, and that's what's so exciting about it, because they're going to actually have, you know, the most personalized. The personalization is what we're really adding to this game, as far as, you know, making your version of Batman, your version of Superman, your version of Grodd, and just the outrageousness in it.
It looks insane. Well, Ed, thank you so much.
How
for
do you
stopping
come
by.
out to get your sort of full deck of characters?
We usually come up with a list that's like, you know, 80% of what we ended up being. As we write the story, you know, we have these very detailed kind of cinematic stories that we do. You know, the writers, you know, need characters that they can, you know, a certain amount of villains, certain amount of heroes, and, you know, we want to be able to accommodate that. And DC also, you know, joins the conversation. And then, of course, you know, the passionate players who really let their points, you know, be heard on Twitter and social media.
And through the mailbox and shouting outside your house, I'm sure, and everything. We're having a look at some gameplay right here. Gorilla Grodd already going at it.
Yes, two of the you know, new additions to our roster. Gorilla Grodd, who's, you know, the villain of the Flash, and Atrocitus, who was kind of like, you know, a big, angry, bloody Red Lantern, kind of almost like the opposite of Green Lantern. Who's and you know, Atrocitus is kind of like an anti-hero, but he's got a lot of anger issues. And but they're so far 2 of our big brawler characters. Grodd's kind of interesting in that he has these kind of big, you know, gorilla ape moves, but he also has kind of telekinetic moves, which is like kind of like a Kenshi or an Ermac or something like that. It's a great combination of the 2.
We'll talk about the gear system in a second, but how is the fighting developed? Is it very much similar to Injustice, the first one we played 2 years ago?
The groundwork is Injustice. I mean, we're with every game we try to add layers for players to kind of learn and master. You know, like a lot of these. You know, the fighting game tournaments, you know, the hardcore guys, you know, we're really into the whole esports thing we've been doing with Mortal Kombat X. and the first Injustice, we've been participating pretty heavily into the tournament scene, and so we've added a number of kind of like lower level stuff that some players may never quite experience, but the hardcore guys who really want to dig deep can really devour.
And talk to us a little bit about the gear system. So how does this work? Is it just like unlocks? Is it purely aesthetic?
Sure, it's gear, and probably in the simplest of terms, I would describe gear as costume pieces that actually power up your character. So when you finish a fight, we're going to have these drops where basically, and the victory screen also rewards you with this gear, and you have the choice of equipping your character with that gear or not. And so there's a molding, so to speak, of as you keep getting gear, you keep deciding if you want to use it, and you want to focus on offense or defense or enhance certain moves or unlock certain moves, and you'll see here that the gear is being rewarded. And the player has the opportunity to equip their character with that gear right away, or to kind of save it in a like a
vault or
exactly, and then they can equip their player for certain missions or something like that if they really want to beef up their defense or offense or enhance this one move or something like that. And that kind of customization really results in visually and gameplay wise, it's your Grodd, it's your Superman, your Batman, your Aquaman, and that's really the kind of foundation of what we're building our main gameplay around.
Go for a bit.
I've got a question. Who is this rocket-powered cat that keeps flying in from Atrocitus?
He is also, Atrocitus is a Red Lantern. There's a whole spectrum of colors, and he is actually another Red Lantern. His name is Dexstar. It's part of the DC lore, and they're kind of they kind of work together. And so we incorporated him into the fighting. He shoots projectiles.
Oh yeah, look.
He does all these.
Oh man,
he's adorable.
He is.
And then, and we have a.
You're speaking to a good crowd here as well. Two of us are cat lovers.
Yeah, and so it's awesome. People who know the Atrocitus, kind of backstory and lore will really appreciate his cameo there.
How is the gear stuff going to play into what you were talking about earlier with esports? Are you going to lock that stuff out? Is it,
Yeah, well, certainly, with the gameplay changes are you're going to have a significantly more powerful version of Superman after you've been, gearing him up and leveling him up. So we will obviously have something to level things out for things like tournaments and whatnot, because you don't want to have somebody coming in with a level 50 Superman against a level 1 Batman or something like that. But we certainly have plans to do like a more level playing field version.
DC are also keeping pretty busy on their own media front. The development of Batman versus Superman, has that affected your development at all, or like even Supergirl, like what they're doing there? Has any of that sort of bled into what you're doing in Injustice?
No. I mean, a lot of what we do is kind of we draw inspiration from the comics and the movies, and the animated shows is a really big one too. But pretty much the development of our stuff is independent of the movies and all that.
Yeah. And it must be fun, I guess. Second time around, there's probably a bit more trust there as well. They've seen what you've done. Like previously, it was like, okay, these crazy Mortal Kombat devs are going to take our DC characters and make them rip each other's throats out.
Yeah, exactly. Well, when we were pitching the first game, one of the things I would always say is we have no intention of tearing Batman's head off. We have no intention of doing anything, Mortal Kombat like. This our studio is filled with, superhero fans, and so we just love this kind of stuff. With some of the moves we come up with are drawn on inspiration on something we might have seen in the animated series or something like that, and so we love these kind of nods to the stuff. Anybody who's a fan of these characters, you're really going to see how much we love the characters too.
Peter, I know you're a massive Mortal Kombat fan as well. 8 out of 10 on GameSpot. We gave Mortal Kombat X.
We did, yes,
last year.
Yeah, and actually, I'm very curious. I understand the different series, obviously, but what did developing Mortal Kombat X, and then the reception that followed, how did that inform your approach to Injustice 2, if at all? I have to imagine there's some sort of
after every game, we can kind of take a step back and kind of
ask ourselves, what resonated with people, what could we have done better, and we always kind of accumulate that stuff and put it into it. One of the things that we've always wanted to do, as a studio, what we're always kind of moving towards is allowing the player to have more control over their character. And so, with Mortal Kombat X, we were like, okay, we're going to make 3 versions of these characters.
Right.
You get to choose which one you like. They have differences in terms of their style of gameplay, letting them select it. Now we're kind of like taking the next step of saying, okay, these variables that we're messing with, we're going to give you access to these variables and let you change things around. And then that kind of inspired like the leveling things up. And so this is really like a overall big picture direction that we're going with fighting games. We really feel like, the more customization and things that players feel like they're involved in growing of these characters, the more, it's just a more fun experience.
Does the gear system purely work within the limits of the game, or is there a microtransactions element to that as well?
No, well, we haven't. Honestly, we're really just getting the whole system up and ready. We haven't really had any discussions about like microtransactions and whatnot. I think big picture wise, we really want an experience that is just long lasting. We just want somebody to, like, when you start playing your game, your Supergirl is just a completely different character than what it ends up being, gameplay wise and visually. It's not a creative character thing. We definitely don't want to like give the impression like we're changing the nose shape and doing all these kind of things like that. But as far as like the way you want your character to play, it is still fundamentally Supergirl, but it is you controlling the variables that we're exposing to you.
You guys have got a sort of a great little staple of games that people are enjoying in terms of fighting games. You've got the Mortal Kombat series, which has come to life in the past 5 years again. You've got Injustice. Are you guys sort of locked into those now on a biannual cycle?
It's been that way so far, but I don't think we've had like this kind of big picture plan that's just how it's kind of worked out. It's interesting, with Mortal Kombat X, we've had the most downloadable characters, Pretty recently, we introduced, Alien and Leatherface and all that stuff. And so
Triborg.
Exactly. And those have been featured in, like, we just had the ESL tournament this last Saturday. It was like $200,000 in prizes. And I was there, and it was the first time that I was like, we were talking about Mortal Kombat, and then Injustice has since been introduced, so I was bouncing between the two games. But I think as we continue to support these games for a longer period of time, that may affect, the release of the next game. Just because we really want the games just to be a longer lasting experience and new content coming.
Is there going to be a really large, robust story mode like we saw in Mortal Kombat?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Every game we really try to kind of up the previous ones as far as like that whole cinematic presentation, and then it sets up the fight, and then the player participates with that. We're adding some really cool twists that we're gonna probably towards the end of the year we'll be talking a little bit more about the story mode and some of the changes we're making to it. But it is going to have that really, that big cinematic experience.
And are all these sort of like story details therein concocted by your team, or are they pulled directly from the comics and the animated?
Well, it is from this universe that I guess we kind of created. DC it's awesome how they have the multiverse.
Yeah.
So we can say, okay, in our version of the multiverse, Superman's this dictator, Batman's taking him down, Superman kills Shazam, and all of these
personalization is something that we're really excited about with this game.
No, it looks really cool. Like I had a look. They showed some of the different customization options and the different types of gear, and you can have your superhero look like entirely different. Like some of the different costumes for Batman look incredible.
Exactly. That's what's so exciting about it. Is it's not only just a visual thing, but those costume pieces actually improve on your character's performance. Our arenas, one thing that was really people loved about the first Injustice is the arenas can be used in the fight. So you can actually, knock your opponents, into the arenas. You can pick up objects and throw them. There are a number of like you can actually, there are multiple arenas. You can actually transition from one arena to the next, which is always fun. And that new arena has a whole new palette of options to use against your opponent fighting. You see him here going through the theater.
I loved this one. It's great. Like it's bringing back that kind of like multi-stage arenas, which
Exactly.
really are a highlight of the series.
Yeah, and we have, this is a new graphics engine for NetherRealm as well too. So we have easily the most realistic, the dramatic lighting, and watch how everything kind of turns to like this hellish looking environment. This is Atrocitus' super move here.
I particularly like as well. Oh wow, that is amazing! There's all these amazing big kind of moves that they do, and also Atrocitus has a little kitty friend. Can you tell everyone about that? Everyone when he came on, everyone was very excited to see him there.
His name is Dexstar.
Yeah.
And he actually can do a number of things to help Atrocitus in this fight. You saw then that he was shooting the projectiles and putting a force field in front of him. And, it's people are really he's turning out to be a big favorite of people here at E3.
Oh yeah, completely. But like one of the great things about the series is like it's very kind of heavy hitting combat, but it's also very it's got a lot of humor in there.
Oh yeah.
So like at the beginning of each fight, they kind of like have a little face off.
Exactly.
And things like that.
They talk to each other. They acknowledge each other. NetherRealm is actually there's some 150, 180 people who just love the DC characters. So this is like a dream come true for all of us. Everybody on the team is, reading up on the comics and getting, up to speed with some of the new characters that we're adding. So anybody who's a DC fan is going to be in heaven. It's just, so you notice here all this equipment that these guys are achieving here.
Yeah.
They can take these and actually apply them to their character, equip current character, it says. So that automatically puts it on. So then right away you have a better version of your character that you've made. And so imagine doing this for weeks, months, and coming up with a much more powerful version of your character. That personal customization is what Injustice 2 is all about. It's kind of sculpting your perfect version of these iconic characters.
Yeah. No, it's brilliant. I particularly love kind of this very LA noir kind of background here in the cinema. It's some great environments that you're going to be flying around in. Are there any like particular ones that you've taken from the comics?
Absolutely. This we're bringing to E3 is three very kind of iconic DC backgrounds. This one is Gotham City, which consists of the theater area out in the street, as well as this kind of inside theatrical prop room, which is cool. We also have Atlantis, which is Aquaman's arena, which is awesome as well, and Metropolis, which is Superman's hometown. And so it's bringing back our different interpretation of these iconic backgrounds has been this is the Trench Queen again. This is all part of DC lore, which is great. And you have a little quick peek at Black Mantis there, and
it's so good. So like all these little Easter eggs for DC fans.
Yeah,
they'll just spot all these things.
Exactly, and there've been so many famous stories of the DC universe that when they talk to each other, so many of these characters have had relationships with each other that has been so. This is another great super move here with Aquaman.
Amazing. It's so good.
Yeah, the first Injustice really set this high bar for the over-the-top, super moves, and so we really tried to raise it. And Supergirl's is even more outrageous. He takes him to the sun or around the sun.
Oh my god! Just like
throws them back to the earth and lasers them through an asteroid belt.
This is brilliant. This is brilliant because this is stuff like I'd not got to see yet. We've got a little bit more kind of like in the middle of fights.
Yeah.
We've got the clash.
Yeah, where they actually talk to each other again. And all of this is kind of like they're all acknowledging their each other. They actually know that they're there.
Yeah. So what was your kind of favorite part about like the whole development of this game?
Well, it's basically these characters that we've loved for so long, and giving them that NetherRealm, a touch to it. Putting our signature on these characters, making our versions of Aquaman and Superman and everything. So that's what's so what's it's just a dream come true for us.
Yeah, yeah. It must be like really fun. Kind of coming. I love how happy she looks that she's won. Brilliant. But like coming up with like kind of like all the different things, like these kind of like finishing poses of victory, and then also just all the big moves, like the big attacks.
Yeah,
it must
super
be so
moves.
much fun.
Oh, it's great. We have meetings. Everybody's kind of is able to kind of bring their ideas to the table and what they want to see Superman do for a super move or Batman and stuff like that. Great ideas.
Yeah. So, and what are you most excited about? Kind of players getting their hands on.
The gear system, like I said, these characters are great, but the whole idea of you being able to create your own customized version of these characters is what's so much fun, and this constant process of getting new gear, making them better, making them just these constant improvements over the time, and then playing against other people's versions of the characters. It's just so personalization is really great.
Yeah, so an incentive to keep going, and it makes something slightly different every time you play. And
right.
You come against new players who have different gear.
Exactly.
So that's great.
Exactly.
And that's really great. Now we're looking at one of the other environments here. And
yeah,
like
this is
you start
Metropolis. It starts up in a bar.
Yeah.
Then you can knock them up into this big area up on the top here, and all new palette of objects that you can use in the battle.
Yeah, I absolutely love all the environments here, and like everything is kind of reacting to them around them, and you can, like as you said, you can use different things in the environment to attack each other.
Yeah, that's something that we started with first Injustice game.
Yeah.
And it's really part of kind of like the signature of what this game is all about.
Yeah, like there was in particular. Just kicked it into the statue there. Brilliant stuff. But like each of the superheroes uses them in different ways.
Yes, we have what we call gadget characters, which are the characters that are more human strength. Batman, and then we have like power characters, Superman, and Atrocitus and Gorilla Grodd, and they're like they'll pick up a car and slam it on you as opposed to jumping off of it. And so it's that difference just adds to the variety of the characters.
Yeah. Now this might be like kind of like asking you to choose a favorite child, but who's your favorite new superhero that you've added to the roster?
That we've added to the roster?
Yeah.
I would say Atrocitus is my favorite of the ones that we've added, but the Flash has always been my favorite character from the very beginning.
Excellent. Oh, this is an amazing transition through the train.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite ones. It's just it's so outrageous.
And the sound in it is brilliant because when it cuts out and you just hear this thud as he just goes through the brick wall,
exactly.
it's just silence, and you just hear the crash.
Yeah. You might not have noticed that there was a guy.
There was a guy at the bar.
On the bar, and he picked him up and.
So yeah, it's not just objects, but also people in the environment that can be used, which is very fun. That got a big laugh yesterday, definitely. Yeah. So which is like would you say is your favorite kind of like super move that you've created?
My favorite super move that we've that's in the game so far is probably Aquaman's.
Yeah.
With the big shark that comes up.
Brilliant.
It's just such a good time. Everybody, it always kind of gets a big wow from people.
Yeah. So like, how long have you been working on the game then?
We've been working on it probably a year and a half or something. But we were working on it, the early stages while we were finishing up Mortal Kombat X, and so we always have a little bit of overlap in there. Yeah.
No, it's really good. I'm just gonna have a look at chat. Like, if there are any questions, do shoot them our way. Just people being very, very excited, saying, like, lots of people in all caps saying brilliant and awesome.
Oh, right.
So it's going down well. Yeah. Let's have a look. Yeah, everyone's saying that it looks awesome. And the graphics look amazing. Yeah, tell us a little bit more about the graphics.
Well, yeah, it's our brand new graphics engine that that we're giving to this is the first time that Injustice is going to be on the Xbox, which is really exciting, and so we're excited that it's going to come with this new graphics engine. You notice the lighting is really dramatic, and they have quite a bit of the attention to detail is really in there as well.
Yeah. No, it looks so cool. I particularly like Gorilla Grodd. I think he's
Grodd
quite
is
cool.
amazing.
This is amazing because he's got like he's like actually like one of the most intelligent characters like in the DC world. Like people say, oh, he's just a big brute, but he's actually incredibly smart.
Yeah.
So he's
in
got all these
contrast to
really really cool super moves.
Yeah.
And making Batman punch himself. I mean that's something